I did genuinely want to come here.
Good evening and welcome to Game Night. That's typically what you're supposed to say when a team is about to give you millions upon millions of dollars. We'll give you a full recap of this year's NFL Draft. Highlights from the Rockets' win over the Jazz in Game 1 of their Western Conference Semis series. Snick joins us later to talk baseball and Shaka Smart's newest commitment. But we start with Texas baseball. Back in the Big 12 and on the road at West Virginia. Swept in Morgantown 2 years ago. Today, going for the series win after splitting the first two games this weekend. Monongalia County Ballpark near the banks of the Monongahela River. Quick start for the Horns. Zach Zubia with a grounder deep in the hole at short. Marcus Inman can't snag it, so Mason Hibler scores on the throwing error. Very next batter, David Hamilton with an RBI ground out to third. Duke Ellis scores to go up 2-0. In the fourth, Horns up just 2-1 now. Tyler Dones ties it up at 2-all with a single into left. Two batters later, Connor Hamilton sneaks one past Ryan Reynolds. That scores Jones to take a 3-2 lead. That caps off a 3-run fourth for the Ears. In the seventh, WVU up 4-2 now. Ellis with an RBI single through the right side. 2 for 5 at the plate today. Tate Shaw scores to cut it to a one-run game. Two batters later, runners on the corner. Zubia grounds out to end the inning, and he goes airborne. Nicked up a little bit, fortunately, able to walk off on his own power. West Virginia blows it open the next inning. Dones with a bases-clearing triple. 4 RBI on the day for Dones as the Mountaineers win it 8-3. Texas loses the series 2-1.
Very tough environment, tough weather, but we've been in those situations since the beginning of conference, really, and we just didn't play well, and they did. We've got to go to work and make sure we understand who we are and get back to being the guys that we are and being the team that we can become. And we're still, like I've said since day one, we have to do the little things to beat good teams, and we didn't do that today.
Friday starting pitcher Nolan Kingham not with the team today. He was just up the road in Pittsburgh to watch his older brother Nick make his MLB debut with the Pirates. Nick taking a perfect game into the seventh. He gives up just 1 hit while striking out 9 in 7 innings to get the win. Longhorns still in second in the Big 12 in the standings. 3 games back of Oklahoma State, 1 game up on Texas Tech. They travel to Lubbock next weekend, but first back home on Tuesday to take on Texas State. Now to the NBA, the Rockets and Jazz opening up their series in the Western Conference Semis. Utah coached by former Austin Toros head coach Quinn Snyder, but the Jazz playing without Ricky Rubio due to a hamstring injury. Houston getting Luke Mbah-a-Moute back from a shoulder injury today. He missed all of the first series. Knocks down the 3 at the end of the first. Houston's up 34-21 in the second. Chris Paul from deep, and then James Harden with that lethal step back. But former Longhorn P.J. Tucker takes over at the end of the half. Back-to-back corner threes, 15 points, and Houston is up 64-39 at the break. End of the third quarter. CP3 putting the Rockets up 20, 17 points for Paul today. And then in the fourth, some high flying above the rim action. Clint Capella with the alley-oop from Harden. Double-double for Capella, 16 points and 12 rebounds, but Harden carrying this team yet again. Eric Gordon intercepts the pass, and Harden with a wide-open 3. 1 of 7 triples today, 41 total points. Houston with a dominant Game 1 win, 110-96.
You know, I think we were ready to roll, obviously, from the get-go. They come off a tough, series, so we had to take advantage of it. And they had some dead legs, and we came out and did what we were supposed to do.
Game 2 of the series is Wednesday evening in Houston. Only other game today, Indiana and Cleveland. LeBron facing an elimination game in the first round for the first time in his storied career. Cavs win it, though, 105-101. So it's Cleveland and Toronto on Tuesday. NFL Draft wrapping up on Saturday, held at the Cowboys AT&T Stadium, and a bit of a shocker to start the weekend. Cleveland taking Baker Mayfield with the first overall pick. Rumors had been swirling all day that would be the case, but still a surprise to most, though not to Mayfield, who had hopes of going in the top 5. Two-time former walk-on and reigning Heisman Trophy winner, skipping the festivities in Arlington to watch with his family and friends at home. Introduced in Cleveland on Friday, it'll be a bit of a culture shock going from 3 straight Big 12 championships to a Browns team that went 0-16 last year, but none of that mattered when he got the phone call that every football player dreams of.
It's a real feeling, thinking about how long it's been and exactly where I came from. So a very surreal feeling. Definitely not one that I would have imagined back then, but I'm happy about it now. Hearing your name called or getting that phone call is a moment that I'll never forget. There's so many emotions and thoughts that run through your head in that little time frame you think about the work ethic and just the journey it's been to get to that one moment in time. And so there's a lot in that one point. It's a clean slate. What I've done in the past, I had a lot of fun, great memories, but it's starting fresh now. So everybody starts over, and that's what I'm looking forward to doing. I did genuinely want to come here. This is a franchise that traditionally is great. They have a great history, and these fans deserve a team that has success, and so you want to be the guy to lead that. That's just human nature. You want to be that person, and so for me, being as competitive as I am, the bigger the challenge for me, I think the better for me.
Of course, Mayfield's career starting right here in Central Texas, a 2-year starter at Lake Travis, leading the Cavaliers to their 5th straight state championship in 2011 as a junior. Just last week, the LT community holding a pep rally for their favorite son. Few know Mayfield better than Cavs head coach Hank Carter, who thinks Mayfield's makeup sets him up for success in the league.
There's not a metric to it. It's how do you measure what's inside of a person? You can't do that. And so, I think that I don't think Baker really knew what was going to happen either. I can tell you that I was contacted by about a dozen NFL teams throughout the last few months, just trying to get a feel for what he was like when he played for us. But the Browns never contacted me. I heard from a lot of teams, but not them. He's going to be the youngest one in the room, and he's also going to be the one that makes the most money. And so that's a different feel. But I'm going to tell you what I feel like his greatest gift has been that I've seen is his ability to work with people. And so I think he's going to figure that out. It's not going to be okay with him if he loses a contest in 7-on-7 during practice, a tie rod. He won't be okay with it. He is relentless in the way that he demands excellence, and he wants to win everything that he does. And so, I think that's why he went number 1 overall. That's how you change a culture.
Former Texas offensive lineman Connor Williams had hopes of going in the first round, but having to wait till day 2 to get drafted, the Cowboys taking the Capel native with the 50th overall pick, snapping a 10-year drought for UT. Williams, the first Longhorn offensive lineman drafted since 2008, but Texas still without an offensive player taken in the first round since Vince Young in 2006. Williams dealing with injury issues last year, possibly causing his drop to the second round, but being drafted by his hometown team in his future home stadium certainly made the wait worth it.
It's amazing. I'm from Dallas, and so to be in the hometown's amazing, and it's a dream come true. It was insane. I knew the area code because I live here, and it at first it was a shock, and at first I was like, there's no way. And getting on that phone call, it was it was incredible. I know what the Dallas Cowboys hang themselves on, and it's pride, it's an America's team, and so I'm not going to let them down. I'm going to come in and I'm going to work and I'm going to show them who I am. I look at it from I'm a clean slate, and I am excited and I am eager, and I'm going to be in the facility day in and day out to work and learning from the best O-linemen in the league.
Overall, Texas with 4 players taken in the draft. Malik Jefferson also hearing his name called on Friday. The Bengals taking the linebacker with the 78th overall pick in the 3rd round. On Saturday, the Seahawks drafting punter Michael Dixon in the 5th round. It's the highest a punter's been drafted since 2012. And then Deshaun Elliott rounding things out, going around later to the Ravens as the 190th overall pick. The 4 Longhorns drafted is tied for the most in the Big 12. As for the UT players who didn't get drafted, 6 players signing as free agents. Pass drop product Antoine Davis signing with the Lions, receiver Armani Foreman and defensive back Holton Hill both off to the Vikings. Linebacker Nashawn Hughes lands with the Packers, and DB Jason Hall and defensive lineman Poona Ford both signed with the Seahawks. As for the draft's host, the Cowboys drafting Boise State linebacker Leighton Vander Esch in the 1st round with the 19th overall pick. Vander Esch leaving the Broncos after a junior season where he was named the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. He led Boise State with 141 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and 3 picks. But perhaps the biggest news for the Cowboys this weekend, reports that Jason Witten will retire after 15 seasons, all of them spent with Dallas. He's expected to join the Monday Night Football crew. Neither he nor Jerry Jones addressing the issue, but expect some clarity to come this week. The Texans didn't have a pick in the first 2 rounds because of last year's deal to land Deshaun Watson. One notable pick, though, taking Texas Tech receiver Keke Coutee in the 4th round. Snicks up after the break with a look at Shaka Smart's newest recruit. Stick around.